In this video I should be going through the route of my John O'Groats to Land's End ride. Now I've already finalised my route, but that was until I talked to a friend of mine and he said that it may actually be better to go from Land's End to John O'Groats rather than John O'Groats to Land's End because of the way the wind goes. So I'm in two minds, but thankfully I'd already done a route either way. So I'll go with what my current plans are, unless I change them. So basically I want to try and do it over about 7 or 8 days, and that works out to about 125 to 130 miles a day. And I want to do it such as this. So a day one would be John O'Groats to Scaniport, which is about 125 miles, and I understand there's an Inverness youth hostel there, and so that's been my route. In which case it's only about £22 to share a room, with a towel included, so that's good. Then the second day would be Scaniport to Tarbet, which would be a cumulative 250 miles, and maybe going to what's called Arrochar or Loch Long Hotel. But I'd like to get a bit cheaper. It says £54, but it might be 43, all depends. I've done some research. So that's day 2. Then day 3 would be Tarbet to Gretna, which would be a cumulative 378 miles or so. I might even go as far as Carlisle. And there's a bed and breakfast at Broadley of Rodgill Country, so that's why I'm thinking of going to bed and breakfast. Fourth day would then be Gretna to Leigh, which would be just over the £500 mark, and that maybe stay at Chat Moss Hotel, which is about £30. Then the fifth day, Leigh to Hereford, which would be 626 miles in cumulatively, and there go to a B&B as well. Although I've just seen I've made a mistake in the bed and breakfast there. I've repeated one from earlier on, so I'll have to amend that later. Then Hereford to Tiverton on the 6th day, which would be 750 miles, and staying at a Travelodge there. And then on the 7th day, Tiverton to Land's End, which would be 187 miles, and then stay over that night, and then travel home the next day. So that's my route from John O'Groats to Land's End. Now, if I was to do the other way, I would be, and in this one I haven't actually set out where I'd be staying overnight. I have to do some more research. But I'd go Land's End to Crediton, which is about 125 miles. Then Crediton to Ross on Wye, which would be cumulatively 250 miles. Ross on Wye to Knutsford on the 3rd day, would be 375 miles. Knutsford to Carlisle, 500 miles. Carlisle to Luss, 625 miles. Then Luss to Whitebridge, 750, and then Whitebridge to Wick, 875 miles. But then there's only 15 more miles to go to get to John O'Groats. So what I'll probably end up doing is probably adding a couple of miles each day on the previous days to make it 7 days. And that's those are my two plans. Some things I've also said about the route is I must stretch a lot along the route. I want to put the route on my Garmin. I've got a Garmin Edge 520, so I'll be doing that. When I did this, I really wanted to keep the route short, and I wanted to avoid dual carriageways, so I've spent quite a bit of time doing that. What other things did I do? I went onto Susteren National Routes to help me out. Some things I've done is I think I've two minds about whether or not to avoid the A82. Some say yes, some say no, and I can't recall why. It's just about how dangerous or not it is. So I have to decide that nearer the time. And also there's an issue about the A49 in Shropshire. So what I want to do is recheck the route next, and then when I get to finalise the route, and I've got to yet decide which way I'm going, north to south or south to north, I will then write down daily milestones on a card each day. So for every day I'll have one card, and that'll have all the places I want to go in on the journey, just in case I have an issue with my route on my Garmin or something. So it just makes it easier. So they're my route plans. Take care now. Cheers. Goodbye.